Hello, my dear friends. Let's start with the chapter 8, Indigo and Crystal Children. A child is born into an ordinary family. The parents decide to name him Tommy. For the first year and a half to 2 years, Tommy considers himself a part of his mother. He was a part of the mother in the womb, and he feels no difference now. He simply accepts whatever the parents give him. His mind is like a fresh sponge, just taking in information. Now let's understand how Tommy learns fear. Tommy tries to walk. Like all children, his bones are soft and supple, and he falls often as he takes his first steps. He doesn't feel anything is wrong with falling. It feels normal and natural. It doesn't hurt, but he notices a strange behavior on the part of the mother. Every time Tommy staggers and falls, his mother rushes over, picks him up, expresses some words of distress that he doesn't understand, and kisses some part of his body and tries to make it well. Tommy doesn't understand the mother's behavior, yet the mother keeps repeating it every time he falls. Now, Tommy is a smart boy. He tries to figure this one out, and he knows that sooner or later he will. Then one fine day, he gets it. Every time he falls, his mother thinks he is hurt, and being the kind woman that she is, she tries to kiss him and make him well. That's it. For Tommy, as for all the other children his age, the mother is a giant who is all knowing, smart, and the ultimate fount of wisdom. Whatever she thinks must be right, he learns from her and he thus forms his opinion. Tommy now knows that every time he falls, he is supposed to get hurt. If he was not hurt, why would the smart mother of his need to kiss him and make him feel better? After all, mother is not that stupid. This is how we teach our children to be fearful. Even today, there are societies in our world where they do not raise their children to be fearful. The child might fall down from a tree, he just gets up and walks away without feeling any pain or hurt. In his mind, there is no association between falling and getting hurt. So, why should he be afraid of falling? Now, let's understand about preschool Tommy is a nice boy. Approaching his second birthday, Tommy starts to develop his own likes and dislikes. Whereas Tommy likes running around barefoot, his mother wants him to put shoes or slippers on, giving him all kinds of reasons like the floor is dirty or that it is too cold. He doesn't think this is the case. Yet, every time he does what he wants instead of what the elders want, he somehow gets yelled at or punished. He is told how he needs to be a good boy by obeying the parents, elders, or other authority figures. Now, Tommy is a smart boy. Now, Tommy is a smart boy. He tries to figure this one out, and he knows that sooner or later he will. Then one fine day, he gets it. Every time he does what his mother or elders want him to do, he gets praise and rewards. But every time he does what he wants to do, he gets a scolding or punishment. Tommy learns that he can be a nice boy and get the rewards and praise only by suppressing his natural desires. As a result, Tommy grows up basically doing the things that his parents and others around him want him to do. He learns their value systems and he learns to suppress his own natural desires. Now let's understand how it'll be when Tommy goes to school. Ever since Tommy was born, his real interest was in dance. Even as a baby, the moment he heard some music, Tommy would start moving his arms and legs. With age, that interest just kept developing more and more. Now that Tommy is in fifth grade, he is forced to study subjects such as arithmetic and history, and yet there is not a single dance class. He has no interest in studying arithmetic and history, so he wonders why is he being forced to study these subjects when nobody is being forced to study dancing. In fact, even those who have an interest in dance like him are not being provided any opportunity to study it. Even though he has no interest, he tries half heartedly to study those uninteresting subjects. But whatever he tries to study those, I'm sorry, but whenever he tries to study those, he keeps thinking about the dance school that he could be attending instead. And he is just not able to concentrate or remember anything related to those uninteresting subjects. Tommy is a slow learner. Before long, Tommy has been classified and identified as a slow learner in school. There is tremendous pressure being put on his parents to make him improve his performance. In turn, the parents keep pushing him to study more of the uninteresting subjects. Yet, nobody talks to him about the dance classes that are of interest to him. He has been told that he needs to take special classes outside of school to study dance, but those classes are expensive and his parents tell him they can't afford the extra fees for the dance classes. Hence, he is not able to study what he likes, whereas those who like subjects like arithmetic or history are able to do that easily. Why this discrimination? Now, Tommy is a smart boy. He tries to figure this one out and he knows that sooner or later he will. Then one fine day, when he is a few years older, he gets it. A couple of centuries ago, some old men decided how everyone in the world should be educated. And they made a list of subjects that have to be taught compulsorily. And for a number of generations, his forefathers have gone through the same curriculum. So he is not the only one being punished. He is not being discriminated against. He figured out the reason. What he still couldn't what he still couldn't figure out and he kept wondering is Over the centuries, why has nobody questioned the validity and effectiveness of the system? And why do people blindly accept it as the right thing to do? Why is the mantra of almost every parent, my child should do well in school and get good grades? Tommy wonders if his parents will ever be happy seeing their child become a good dancer. He keeps wondering whether his parents really even think about his happiness. Now let's read about a university education for Tommy. Boring as it was, Tommy still manages to finish high school. Now he would really like to join some dance company, do whatever necessary to survive and be happy. Unfortunately, his father will have none of that. He must be reasonable, get a college degree, and get a job that provides a regular paycheck. After all, his father and his forefathers have all done that, worked hard all their lives, and managed to eke out a decent living. Difficult as it is, his father is even willing to fund his university education because that is the duty of a responsible father. Tommy can talk about which university he would like to attend, but he should not talk about joining the dance company. The dance company doesn't provide a good regular paycheck. Dancing is okay for entertainment, but as a career, no way. Now, what is Tommy supposed to do? He is lost. But Tommy is a smart boy. He tries to figure this one out. And he knows that sooner or later he will. Then, one fine day, he gets it. Tommy finally figures out that he has been wrong all along, and his father has been right. After all, without the paycheck and without his father's support, how will he make a living? And who is going to marry him in that position? And how will he make a decent living? He should follow his father's advice and get a university education. Tommy joins the university. Boring as he finds it, he still manages to graduate. He has been thinking about dancing all the time and how interesting his life would have been. But then, dancing wouldn't get him a regular paycheck. And what is more important than a regular paycheck, especially for a man? Tommy graduates and gets a regular job with a regular paycheck. Tommy gets married and has a couple of kids. He buys a house, gets a car or two, and is now fully settled as a decent man should be. The only downside, Tommy makes just enough money to cover the mortgage, the car payments, other necessary bills like health insurance, and has only a small amount left over. And he needs to save that small amount for his retirement. Tommy now has no time and no money for the dance lessons. Life is as it is supposed to be, but where is the fun in life? There is a lot of stress at work, and this creates some health problems for Tommy. He occasionally thinks about leaving the job, but without a regular paycheck, how will he support himself and the family? And how will they cover the medical expenses? Now Tommy is a smart man. He tries to figure this one out and he knows that sooner or later he will. Then one fine day, he gets it. Once again, Tommy realizes that his father has been right all along. It was wrong on Tommy's part to selfishly think about how happy dancing would make him. A man has the responsibility to provide for his family and for his retirement. Tommy now feels guilty about having been so irresponsible for so long. He promises himself that he will no longer have selfish thoughts about dancing. Instead, he will be a good provider till the day he dies. Tommy's transformation to his father's thinking is now complete. Traditions, traditions, traditions. For as long as we can remember, mankind has gone from generation to generation passing down its traditions and its thinking. We tend to lead life the same way our forefathers did. And we take on and adopt the value systems from our parents and families without questioning whether these make any sense to us or not, or whether these make us happy or not. In effect, we give up our desires and independent thinking and adopt the value systems that the society teaches us. If each generation behaves like the previous one, how can we bring about any major change? Yet, the imminent dimensional shift requires a major change in our thinking. We need a rebellion. Why do we need a rebellion? Every system that we have in place today is non functional. Our educational system, our political system, our economic system, our financial system, our healthcare system, our military system, our industrial system, our transportation system, our banking system, our legal system, our energy generation system, etc., 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 they all need a total revamp. They need to be broken down, totally dismantled, and new functional systems need to be built from the ground up. The first task is the breaking down and dismantling of the current systems. If each generation follows the traditions, the current systems continue in perpetuity. Now let's read about Enter the Rebels, the Indigo Children section. A new breed of children has been coming to Earth, mainly from 1978 on. Although we have some older indigos even in their 60s, they are called indigo because to the clairvoyant, their auras appear indigo in color. These children are the rebels that we need. Their DNA is more activated than that of the common children. As a result, their thinking and their behavior is significantly different from that of the common children. As a result of their activated DNA, they tend not to get sick easily. They are disease resistant, but their bodies react to pharmaceutical drugs in a very negative way. They refuse to accept anything simply because it is traditional. They refuse to believe anything simply because it has been told by an authority figure. For example, a parent, a teacher, a priest, a doctor, etc. Everything has to make good rational sense to them before they accept it. Let's read about main characteristics of indigos. The biggest difference between an indigo and a non indigo child is their view of life. Whereas the non indigo assumes that the main thing in life is to conform to society, take responsibility, be successful according to the commonly accepted principles, and uphold the value systems of society. The indigo believes that the main purpose of life is to be happy. Every action of the indigo is judged by the standard of happiness as defined by the self, not necessarily by society in general. What Tommy what if Tommy were an indigo? Even the infant indigo Tommy wouldn't learn that falling is painful. He would just find his mother's actions amusing. As a preschool child, Tommy would do whatever he wants to do. No amount of potential punishment would get him to change his thinking. Only a meaningful reward would make him adopt a new behavior. In school, Tommy would probably uh, Tommy would probably study uninteresting subjects such as arithmetic and history if it were explained to him why that was a necessary part of the curriculum. But if it didn't make sense to him, he wouldn't care how poorly he performs in school. He would know how smart he is, and he wouldn't need to prove it to others by getting good grades. He would somehow find ways to attend some dance classes anyway. The indigo Tommy would refuse to go to the university at all unless he were allowed to study dance too. In case his father forced him to go, he might join the university, but he would only study the things that he wanted to study. A couple of years in the university, and the Indigo Tommy would make a deal with the manager of the dance company. He would do all kinds of chores for the dance company in the exchange for being allowed to participate as a dancer. When the dance company would have to go on a tour, Tommy would drop out of the university. But Tommy is happy. The indigo Tommy knows that the purpose of life is to be happy. If it takes dropping out of the university to dance and be happy, so be it. Should Tommy decide to complete the university, graduate, and get a job, he wouldn't last long in the job. The indigo Tommy sees no need to create so much stress for himself that he gets sick. Tommy knows that the purpose of life is to be happy. He has no problem giving up the regular paycheck in order to be happy. But his father would throw a fit if he were to find out that Tommy has quit his job. The parents of indigo children try to make them conform and act like normal children, but with no success at all. If the indigo children act like normal children, then they would become conformists, and the entire purpose of their coming to help mankind at this juncture would be lost. The indigos are multidimensional humans and sometimes have a hard time dealing with normal people whose entire existence is in the third dimension. Although they are not consciously aware of it, the indigos often get information from other dimensions. As such, they are normally viewed as very smart. Because they are so smart, they need a lot of activity to keep their mind busy. In the absence of sufficient activities, they get easily bored. When they are bored, they look for different things or activities to occupy their mind. Hence, their mind wanders from one place to another. This often leads to a diagnosis of ADD, that is, attention deficit disorder, or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Unfortunately, they are often drugged and put on medication that their physical bodies cannot handle well due to their activated DNA. Now let's learn about the indigos have arrived. Now that the earlier indigos have grown up and are starting to come into the workforce, they are having an impact on society. Just like they questioned their parents and teachers earlier, they are now questioning the bosses and starting to break down the antiquated structures that we have. The demolition work has already started, and the pace continues to increase. Within the next 2 decades, all our antiquated systems will be demolished. Then, what do we do? Now, let's read about harbingers of the new age, the crystal children. Ever since the year 2000, a few as early as 1998, a new breed of children have started coming. They are called crystal children since they have a special connection to crystals and their aura shows multiple colors. The crystal children are pure love. They have come now to show us how things will be once we get to the new world in the fourth dimension, when everyone is operating from unconditional love. These children are so pure that they cannot stand any kind of violence at all. If a 2 year old crystal child is watching cartoons on TV and one cartoon character hits another, hitting is a form of violence. So, one cartoon character hits another, the crystal child cannot bear it and leaves the room on his own, claiming that bad TV is on. Or a 5 year old is in class. The teacher shouts at another student in class. The crystal child cannot take it anymore. He leaves the classroom and hides somewhere outside. With this level of non-violence and love, these crystal children, when they grow up and enter the workforce, will help build the new structures. Once the old antiquated structures have already been demolished with the help of the indigo children. How can these children create war? How can these children even think of hurting anyone? These children are born with unconditional love. These children also have an uncanny attraction to crystals. Once you tell them about crystals and the names of crystals, crystal children remember these forever. When these children help us build new systems, all the systems have to run on the principle of unconditional love. Welcome to the new world starting 2029. This is the end of the chapter. Thank you.